Welcome to Landisville Middle School. My name is Dr. Mack. I am the principal. We also have Ms. Forey, who is the 7th grade counselor, and Mr. Sharp, who is the 8th grade counselor. We're really excited to present Landisville Middle School to you tonight. I know many of you have had kids that have already gone through here. All three of my kids have gone through here. My oldest is an 8th grader right now. She's super excited. Her dad's the principal. So she asked me when I applied, can you wait a year? I said, no, the job's open now. I can't wait a year, but she's going to survive. I keep telling her that the high school's asked me to come up and loop to 9th grade, and it's not the case. So we love this building. We think we have a great staff. We think we have a lot to offer, and we think the biggest thing is kids are going to enjoy coming to school here, and they're going to have a lot of opportunities. You should see tremendous growth, not just academic, but this is a time in their life where there's a ton of changes. There's a reason they take these 2 years and they separate them, put them in an absolutely separate building, and then bring them back to civilization in high school. That's just the way it works. So we always start with our core values, our community values, as you can see, and you'll see these posted around the building. Be safe, be responsible, be respectful, and be engaged. So everything we do, we try to relate back to our core and our community values. We want to make sure our expectations are very clear. We have a lot of positive incentives for people that are doing what they're supposed to do. We want you to come to school, we want you to give your best effort, and we want you to be a good kid. That's what we're asking. And when you do those things, you get rewarded. And some of the things we do, we have an armor card where if you're doing the right things and you're working hard and meeting those core values, you get special privileges. There are special events. We have one every quarter. There's also something called accolades where staff members can recognize you for being a good kid and doing the right thing. So those are given out every week. And then there's drawings at the end of the week where kids can earn prizes. Student of the week, student of the quarter. I know they have those in elementary as well, but we continue them here at the middle school. We want to make sure we have a strong community, and that's the biggest piece. It's important that the kids feel like they're part of something, they're part of their community, that this is their school, that they have a say in what they're doing. And some of the things we do a team huddle once a marking period. And the purpose of the huddle is to outline our expectations. They say, hey, this is what you guys are doing really, really well this marking period. And then we'll say, these are some things you may need to work on. Cell phones is always on the list. Cell phones and earbuds. That's Mr. Cox. He's the assistant principal. He couldn't be here. We dress up in different outfits. It's the huddle. It's the team philosophy. And then we take feedback. And the kids are really good about giving feedback. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Can we do this? Some kids don't like to share in front of their peers. So when they get back to homeroom, they'll come up with a list, and we'll get that list and see if we can help them. So ping pong table was one. We were able to do that. Slushy machine, unfortunately, we weren't able to make that happen. But they do come up with some good stuff. They let us know, hey, this water fountain's broken. Can we get that fixed? Or this has not worked in a really long time. Can you take a look at that? And it's just a way for us to get dialogue back and forth with our students. We do team here. So there's 2 teams in 7th grade, 2 teams in 8th grade. The 2 teams in 7th grade are the Knights and the Nobles. And some of the benefits of teaming, the teachers get a chance to plan together. So if they want to create lessons that are interdisciplinary, which means they have a piece of science, a piece of math, a piece of English, a piece of history, they have the opportunity to do that. It's also an opportunity for teachers to work together to help kids. Okay, this kid needs to be accelerated. This kid needs a little bit more help. Hey, we're concerned about this. And it's a chance, if they all have the same planning time, that we can get parents into the building and have meetings if necessary. So there are some really good benefits to teaming. The grouping, how we pick the teams, it's kind of random. We put it in the system, we list all of the recommendations, and then the computer just sort of does the work for you and randomly groups people. So we don't necessarily, there's not an advanced team or a team that's not advanced. It's a random assortment of kids on both teams. Exploratory, those are the classes that are not your core. So your cores are math, science, social studies, and English. The exploratory classes will be like tech and art. What am I missing here? FCS, cooking. Those, they do cross teams, which is good. So you have an opportunity to see kids from other teams in their exploratory time. And there's 2 exploratory periods. You'll see this in a second during the day. As I alluded to just a minute ago, there are 7 periods in a day plus a flex period. And you'll see that in 7th grade, they'll have 2 of those periods will be English. Then they'll have a period of social studies, a period of math, and a period of science. So those are the core classes. They make up 5 of the 7 periods. The other 2 periods are those exploratories we talked about. Okay, so they might have health and phys ed. They definitely have to take health and phys ed their 7th grade year and 8th grade year. And we'll show you a list of the exploratories that they will be exposed to. They have lunch. At the end of the day, they have a flex. And flex time is clubs. It's if they need some help in class, it's a chance for them to complete work. So they end the day with that flex period. Band, chorus, and orchestra also participate during that flex period.
All right, so as Dr. Mack mentioned, we have some cores that we covered, the English, the science, the history, the math, but we also have those exploratories. So every student is going to be scheduled for a quarter of art, a quarter of computer applications, a quarter of exploring technology or tech ed, and then a quarter of intro to FCS or family consumer science. Now, students also get to have some choice over their music. So you can see in the slide, there's 4 different music options. The first one is Music A. That's their general music course. That's probably the course that most of your students chose. And these selections already happened with their 6th grade counselor, their 6th grade music teacher. But there's 3 other music choices as well. So if your student plays a string instrument, they could take string techniques. If your student is a singer, they could take vocal techniques. Or if they play a brass, woodwind, or percussion instrument, they could take that class. For the string techniques and the brass techniques class, you could either take that a half year or a full year. If you take music for half a year, then you will have a full year of phys ed. So the students' phys ed, if they have a half year or full year of phys ed, depends on their music choice. And then we also offer chorus, band, and orchestra, and those music ensembles happen during flex. This slide just summarizes the courses that we already touched upon, but it also goes through and outlines the different levels of the core subjects. So for ELA and math, there's a foundations, an on-level, and an advanced level for each of those courses. For science and history, there's only 2 levels, so the on-level and the advanced level. Like we said, every 7th grade student will take health or phys ed. They'll take those 4 exploratory classes, art, computer apps, tech ed, and FCS. And then finally, those music choices are listed there again. So what does that actually look like in a schedule? Well, you can see here on the left-hand side, we have the 7 periods of the day. And our school year is broken down into 4 quarters. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, similar to marking periods. And we run a 6-day cycle. So we have even days and we have odd days. So you can see there, if you walk through your schedule, period 1, advanced ELA in this example. Period 2 is history. Period 3, it will change every day and every quarter. So you can see for some days you'll have health, some days you'll have PE. This schedule is a typical schedule for students who chose that Music A option and have a full year of PE. Then lunch is in there. Every student will eat lunch. Then maybe after lunch, they'll go back to another exploratory. So you can see that changes throughout the year between tech ed, computer apps, FCS, and which one was I missing? Art. And then the other 2 cores are listed there. Again, at the end of the day, they have that flex period. That's a free period for students to use to ask their teachers questions, to work on homework, to make up assignments, get help on a test. So that's a great time that students have access to their teachers. This is just an example of another schedule for students who are taking a full year of music. So maybe they elected to take vocal techniques or string techniques. You can see here how their schedule would look. Again, if you take a full year of music, you would only have a half year of phys ed. All right, so those are all of the classes. Again, your students have already chose their music selections. Their 6th grade teachers have recommended them for their core classes. So that process is already done. You should have received a course verification form that shows you what they selected and shows you what their teachers recommended them for. Now, I also wanted to talk today about how to get involved here at LMS. We have a lot of different opportunities for students to become involved. So we have opportunities in the performing arts. Again, band, orchestra, chorus, those are music ensembles that we offer during Flex. Your students could have signed up for those when they went through course selection. We also have color guard, musical, jazz band, modern band, so a lot of different music options. We also have sports options that you can see listed there, and a lot of other different clubs that cross a variety of subjects. And again, a lot of those clubs will happen during Flex time.
Hi, my name's Steve Sharp. I'm going to be the counselor for the class of 2028, so the 8th graders. I just really want to welcome you to our school community. I'm so excited to see some new faces and some familiar faces out there. When we talk about the supports and services out of the counseling department, we're going to provide school-wide or school counseling services when it comes to supporting your students' academic, social and emotional, and their college career readiness needs in addition to that. We'll be doing that with individual work with our students, helping them in those transition or in those new and complex social interactions. In addition to that, we'll be finding classroom lessons to make sure that your students meet their career readiness requirements per the state and also have the necessary skills to flourish not just in the middle school, but well beyond to the high school and to lifelong learning. In addition to that, we'll also coordinate a range of school-wide programs. We'll work to collaborate with you as family members and with our educators to make sure that that home-to-school partnership thrives to support your student. Make any necessary referrals to any in-school or out-of-school based systems of support, and in addition to that, we'll offer a range of enrichment programs. When we talk about things that really help your student to be successful in the middle school, we have a lot of tried and true things that we see as being timeless across time. Without a question, your students' organization skills are going to be one of the key things that you can do to support your middle school student. Helping your middle school student to have a regular binder that they keep, to organize their materials between their multiple different classes that they're walking between, taking some time to regularly review that and clean it out can be a very helpful thing. Your students should always have a pencil or a pencil pouch that has lots of writing utensils because it falls into some sort of random black hole located exclusively here in the middle school where they always seem to disappear. In addition to that, we recommend that they come to school prepared. The one way that our students are ill prepared, in addition to not having things like writing utensils or materials, is not having a charged iPad. Please make sure that you have a set charging location and routine to make sure your student is ready and charged for the school day, both literally and metaphorically. In addition to that, we really work with our students and communicate with their parents when it comes to your students' use of time. In full transparency, your students will have homework. But one thing that we can say very clearly is most of the homework your students will receive is simply classwork that hasn't been completed yet. So having your student take advantage of those in-class opportunities, having, as Ms. Forey said before, taking advantage of the flex time to get additional academic and instructional support or simply complete the assignments, these are going to be the best ways to help your students to really thrive in the middle school. What we all know to be true is, too, the middle school is a great opportunity and has great chances for your students to learn and build meaningful relationships, but this is only the start of a lifelong journey and helping your students to be future focused on the skills that they'll acquire here to apply in the middle school and the opportunities and learning and pathways that they'll step foot into that'll lead them into things well beyond our high school as well. We encourage our students also, we want you as parents to be involved in your students' lives, and we celebrate that partnership, but one thing that's going to be very important is working with your students to learn how to communicate for themselves with the adults here and learn to advocate for themselves. I want to let you in on a secret. Almost all of us here at the middle school got in for the money and fame. No, I mean, like, we got in because we actually like working with your students and helping to shape them to being the wonderful young adults we know they can be. So please know this is a safe place for them to experiment with the adult communication that we understand is going to be a vital tool to their success. And in addition to that, we actively encourage them to get involved in the range of different opportunities that we have here so that they can explore the different skills, dynamics, and in addition to that, the different learning opportunities that happen outside the classroom that we know that they can truly thrive in. And then in addition to that, having your students here as frequently as possible really does matter. And we understand in addition to that, what helps them is their attendance, helping them to be engaged. If there is disruptions, working with us as a school to get them back on track as quickly as possible. The other part when you talk about that important partnership that we thrive to have with you is, again, the communication. We have very key communication points. The first is going to be our daily blasts that happen. Make sure you go onto the school website. In this case, it'll be Hempfield SD, select Landisville Middle School, and you'll see at the bottom, subscribe to the LMS newsletter. And just by putting your email, even if it is parent@dejazz.net or whatever it is for you, please go ahead and throw that in so you can get the regular updates that we have to make sure that our information for you is accurate. Make sure that if you aren't already, please understand how Schoology works. Schoology is our school book where you can see upcoming assignments, and please make sure that you know how to access PowerSchool, our grade book, which will help you to track your students' assignments to make sure that they're handed in correctly and in a timely way, and other things like attendance and discipline as well. We actually have a goal of feeding our students almost every day here at the middle school, so make sure that you check out School Cafe to make sure they have money in their account. And if you have any safety concerns for your students, we pride ourselves on being responsive to those concerns. Feel free to use the Safe to Say Something app as well. I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Mack to talk a little bit more in stereo.
Mr. Sharp's pretty good at speaking amazing jargon and throwing a real sneaky one-liner. So that was well done, Mr. Sharp. Good job. Safety and security. A couple things we just want to mention. Arrival. The doors open at 7:10, and they can come in two different spots, either the front door or the cafeteria entrance. When they enter, they can either get breakfast or they come in here. Those are the two options. So we have a lot of kids that come in, they want to get food, that's fine, but the majority of them come in here and they just have a chance to see their friends before the day starts. Then there'll be a bell, and then they head off to class at 7:20. Arrival. The doors out here shut at 7:27, so I know there are people that are dropping their kids off by vehicle. Just be careful. Sometimes that area gets a little bit crazy. We do have high school students that are dropping off their middle school siblings, and they're late, so occasionally we have to remind them to slow it down. But those doors will close at 7:27, and then only the front doors will be available. Anyone that comes to the front door has to state their business and has to be buzzed in, and then we check IDs when you enter the building. If you're going to pick somebody up or pick your child up, you have to be on the emergency contact list, and you have to show ID as well. Visitor badges for anybody that comes into the building for a meeting, and then if you want to volunteer, it's important that you get your clearances taken care of, and you can find that information on the website. But we have a lot of opportunities for parents to get involved in different activities that we do throughout the year. So if that's something you're interested in, please take a look online. And if you haven't done so already, complete there's 3 clearances now that you have to get. Get involved. You know, part of that partnership is trying to get families in the building and get involved in some of the things that we're doing. So we have a parent advisory committee. It's basically the middle school PTO. And our first meeting is September 13th at 6:30 p.m. We have it in the library. And it's very informal. We have a list of things we just want to tell you about. And then the second half is parents that, hey, I have a question about this. So it's a really good conversation if you're interested. And we have them 4 times a year. So the first one is September 13th after we get up and running. We have different fundraisers. And the fundraisers are for all kinds of things we do with our students in the building. I think we did the popcorn. It's the first time we lost to CMS. It was a very disappointing fundraising season for us. They got the donuts, and they were sending pictures of them eating the donuts. That was devastating. But we're coming back. We're coming back. I blame it on me because I was new, so we'll be back with a vengeance. Parent volunteers, I just mentioned that. You need the 3 clearances, and they stay valid for 5 years. So you don't have to do it every year, but every 5 years you need to update your clearances. We do have accolades, which are rewards for kids doing the right thing. So we're always looking for volunteers to donate different things. We have different pizza places that donate, Field of Screams donates, different businesses. So if that's something you're interested in, we would love your assistance. So the awards the kids are pretty excited for. So if it's something you can do, that would be great. And we also take donations. If you go to that parent advisory committee, we'll put you on a list, and we just need different supplies sometimes for the events. The winter one was the gingerbread. So we had like 60 gingerbread kits, and they had all the materials out, and then we declared a winner at the end. So lots of ways to get involved if you're interested.
All right, so there's a lot of new people here at LMS. You're going to have a team of teachers that are working with your students. So I want to kind of emphasize, if you have any concerns, if you have questions, who you can contact about that. So the first person or group of people that I have up here are classroom teachers. I want to emphasize again that school and parent partnership, that's super important for students and their success. So if you have questions about any specific assignments or assessments or their grades in a particular class, the classroom teacher is a great person to start with. Also, if you have questions about any of the team activities that the team is doing or just general classroom behaviors, again, the classroom teacher would be the most appropriate person there. But if you have overarching behavioral concerns, if you have concerns about bullying or cyberbullying or something that you're hearing about that's happening here at LMS, or even if you have questions about the different incentives or accolades, the main office, the assistant principal or Dr. Mack, they would be the most appropriate people to help you with those concerns or questions. Next, the counseling department. So that's me. Again, I'll be the 7th grade counselor next year, so I put my contact information up there. If you have any questions or concerns about your students' social emotional well-being, if you have overarching academic concerns, mental health concerns, if you want more information on career development and different career opportunities, even just help with those transitions, whether your student has been absent for a while and is transitioning back to school, or the transition to 7th grade. Maybe they're having peer relationship conflict at school, or there's some conflict at home. Me as the counselor would be a great resource for you for any of those concerns. And then finally, the nurse, she's a great resource if you have health concerns or any questions about medications. Again, my contact information is up there. You can always reach out to me, and if I can't answer your question, I'll try to point you in the right direction. All right, so we have some important dates coming up. Like I mentioned previously, you should have received a course verification form with all of those teacher recommendations, the courses that your students chose. Those are due back into your student's 6th grade homeroom April 14th. So I believe that's on Friday. So if your student hasn't turned that in yet, if you haven't looked over that, ask your student about that. The next one up there, if your child attends Farmdale, on May 8th, those students will be coming here during the school day to get a tour of the building. If your student attends LIC, they will be coming either May 9th or 10th. So that's always a great opportunity, super exciting for them to actually get in the building. It's the first time that they're seeing the middle school, and they get a great tour, something similar to what you might receive tonight. There's also opportunities over the summer, so August 15th and August 17th. Our doors will be open. Parents and students can come in, tour the building again, potentially meet some teachers, and meet other faces around LMS. And then our first day of school is August 22nd. Feels super far away right now, but I'm sure it'll come quicker than we think. And then once we get all started for the year, our back to school night is September 7th, where all of our teachers will be here. Parents are invited to come in and meet all of your students' teachers. And then like Dr. Mack mentioned earlier, the first parent advisory meeting is September 13th. So I saw a lot of you taking a picture of this, so I'll leave it up for one more second if you want to take a picture of it. I think that's a great resource. All right, and then that was our last slide, so that's all of the information that we have for you. So if you have any general questions, we're going to transition now to some student-led tours. We have some great student ambassadors here tonight. So if you have any general questions about the information we shared or just what it's like to be a student here at LMS, they're going to be a great resource for you. So they're here tonight to answer your questions, walk you around the building. If you have specific questions about your student situation or just anything more specific, please feel free to contact me. Again, I put my email up there. I really appreciate your attendance tonight. Thank you so much for being patient with us. If you would not like a tour, then you are free to leave. But if you would like a tour, you actually are free to group yourselves up into groups of like 8 to 9, and then one of our student ambassadors is going to walk you around the building. We'll also be down here, so if you have any quick questions, we'll be down here for your assistance.